Hello friends, welcome back to Tales and Tales with Brittany. My name's Brittany and today we are going to be going over my September reading wrap-up. We're going to go over the 6 books that I managed to finish reading in the month of September and the 4 books that I'm rolling over into October. We are also going to ignore this lighting situation. I did not get my filming done on my day off as I had originally planned, and we are entering fall and winter, which means it's going to be dark when I get home from work. And so I got to figure out some kind of filming situation on filming with kind of the lights that I have in my house. If anyone has any recommendations on how to set up lighting for filming someone with glasses, because loving kind of some of this look there, but casting a lot of shadowing on my face. We're gonna push through because consistent content is better than waiting for perfect content that might never happen, because I can't save all of my filming to happen all at one time on my weekends. The first book that I finished in the month of September was Frostbite by Michelle Mead. This is the second book in the Vampire Academy series. I am reading this series along with Sandra of I Got a Thing for Things, along with a few other different creators. We are kind of reading a few books at a time, and then completing in live show discussions about 2 books at a time. I kind of raced through to try to finish this book in time for the live show at the end of August, and I just barely missed it by about 40 pages having it be finished. I lost Libby Chicken with the book in that I kept hitting deliver later and wanted to listen to the audiobook a little bit sooner to the live show, but then it got up to the weekend of the live show and that audiobook wasn't coming, so I had to push through and try to do some ebook reading, and I am definitely not an eyeball reader. Overall, really enjoyed Frostbite, enjoyed it a lot more than I did Vampire Academy. It's kind of a silly-ish, goofy time. It's very much a product of the 2000s when it was written. There's definitely some problematic things that you kind of just have to look past a little bit. The series definitely acknowledges that there's a few things that are a little bit problematic. It also has some of the cringiest recap prologue chapters that I have ever seen, but I really enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to continue on in reading the Vampire Academy series, and I overall rated Frostbite 3.5 stars. So the next book that I finished in the month of September was The League of Gentlewomen Witches. This is the second book in the Dangerous Damsel series by India Holton. Overall, I had a fantastic time with this book. I ended up rating it 4 stars. The book essentially follows and occurs in kind of Victorian England, but it's slightly an alternate England in that there are pirates, there are witches. The method of kind of transportation that pirates use, it's not a ship, it's not a blimp, it's houses. They use magic to kind of levitate houses and steal them. There's a witch, there's a pirate. Witches and pirates don't get along in this series, but there is this kind of magical amulet that everyone is trying to go after that belonged to kind of one of the very first witches, who was also one of the first pirates. So essentially everyone's going after this amulet, and there is kind of a forced proximity situation between our male main character and female main character. And of course, as you know, in most Romeo and Juliet-esque situations, they're going to fall in love. Absolutely love India Holton's writing style. It's really quirky. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It's breaking the fourth wall. There are chapter titles that are 20 to 30 plus words long. It's such a fun, goofy time, and I am excited to continue on in the series. There is only one book left in that series. I absolutely love Dungeon Crawler Carl. Rated it a good 5 stars, probably going to be tied for one of my best books of the year. Absolutely love this book. There is a lot to it, considering. Absolutely love Dungeon Crawler Carl. Can you have a look at this little Princess Donut? Oh, I just love Princess Donut. She is so sassy and she's cute. I love Mongo. I love the social commentary that was in this book. I love how surprisingly deep this is for a lit RPG. I cried in this book. Did not think I was going to cry over a lit RPG. And cute little rat. Cute little ratkin is my guess. But anyway, absolutely love this. 5 stars. Definitely going to be continuing on in this series. Absolutely love it. My goal is to hopefully read probably a book every month or every 4 to 6 weeks in order for me to be all caught up by the time the new book comes out. Book 8, I do believe, comes out in kind of the first third of 2026. And after reading Dungeon Crawler Carl, I went on what I would consider a little mafia romance side quest. I decided to read Bound by Duty by Cora Riley, the second book in the Born in Blood Mafia Chronicles. And if I had started that book in the morning, I probably would have listened to it in one sitting. But instead, I started at 9 o'clock at night. Then I was up till 2 in the morning listening to it. Had a little bit of a sleep. Then I woke up, immediately read the book and finished it. I had such a wonderful good time. There's something for me about mafia romances, even if they are not the most well written or most unique stories. There's something about them that they are so easy to digest that I just race my way through them, love them, really enjoying them. Definitely want to add a few more mafia romances or kind of crime family-based romances onto my currently reading series list when I have a little bit more of room on it, because it's definitely kind of a genre that I find myself really enjoying, in that kind of reading a book in the mafia romance every other month kind of is a nice little palate cleanser that I do end up. Our main character, she is a widow and she has to marry the head of the mafia, at least kind of her chapter or her section of the mafia, who also happens to be a widower. There is an age gap between the two of them. It's kind of slow burn. This marriage is kind of happening kind of faster than they would want to, considering her husband kind of died less than a year ago. But because of the time frame, he is wanting to get married before he kind of becomes the head of the mafia. I do find mafia romances tend to be a little bit formulaic, so there's not that much room to kind of expand out. Overall rated this 3.5 stars. Definitely going to continue on in the series, and especially if I need a quick palate cleanser. After finishing Bound by Duty, finally finished The Wind Weaver. I've been reading this book since, in reality, I think since in early June. I started The Wind Weaver back in June, technically, restarted it again in mid-July, then it took me a good two months to read it. Overall, I did enjoy this book. I rated it about 4 stars. I would describe this as a romantasy fairies kind of meets Avatar: The Last Airbender, in that there are kind of 4 individuals that are called remnants, and they are continually being reborn, and each remnant kind of follows one of the core elements: air, water, earth, and fire. In this book, our main character, Raya, she learns that she is the air remnant, and she comes across 2 other remnants as part of this book. There is a little bit of a love triangle that kind of is presented, which I'm not too sure how I feel about the love triangle. I started off by rooting for one character, and then kind of by the ending of the book, I was starting to root for the other character a little bit more. I felt they with the second character, so it felt like there was a little bit more tension, whereas with the first character, despite him kind of being quite aloof at the beginning, I found like it then became a little bit too obvious. Overall, I did enjoy this book. It did feel kind of up until kind of the 80% mark. I was having a lot of trouble of finding out, trying to see how they were going to wrap up this whole series in only 3 books, because it felt like there was such a build-up before there's kind of any big major action that was happening. Parts of this book were a little bit slow. I believe it was meant to feel slow. You were kind of trying to have to feel the boredom that the one character was facing when she was kind of essentially forced to stay still or to stay in one area for multiple chapters at a time. So definitely the pacing definitely seemed a bit more kind of true to life. There's not always times when you're constantly busy, especially in kind of war situations or other situations like that. There's going to be really busy times and there's going to be downtime. So that's definitely something I thought was kind of a bit more true to real life. But it kept me from picking this up. Overall, I really loved this book when I was reading it, but then I would stop it and I wouldn't continue. So that's definitely what's keeping this from being kind of a full 5-star or even a 4.5-star. There was just something about the book that I found a little bit lacking, that I wanted a little bit more of, but overall I really, really enjoyed it. Definitely am excited to continue on in the series and to read The Sea Spinner when it comes out next year. Based on the ending of this book, I do expect that I will enjoy The Sea Spinner significantly more in this book. Definitely expect that one to be a 5-star potential for sure. But overall, enjoyed The Wind Weaver, rated it 4 stars. The last book that I finished in the month of September was The Dream Gatherer. This is a novella in the Green Rider series that takes place between the 6th book Firebrand and the 7th book Winterlight. Overall, I enjoyed the stories in the novellas. There's 2 short stories in the book as well as 1 novella. Overall, it did just feel like it was something kind of that was written just for the fans, like a little bit of an extra chapter. It wasn't necessary for the continuation kind of further on into the story, though it did kind of include a callback to some fan favorite characters that are not pictured very often in the series. I think they only otherwise occur or are present in the series twice, at least that I remember of. So it's definitely nice to have seen kind of the Barry sisters again for a little bit. But overall, the book did feel like it was just kind of a bit of kind of like a fan service, or kind of something that was just kind of for the fans to enjoy, and that's something that wasn't necessary for continuing on in the series. And that kind of makes sense. The Dream Gatherer was released as part of the 20th kind of anniversary celebrations of when Green Rider was first released. In the month of September, I had an average of 3.92 stars across those 6 books that I read, which I definitely think is not too bad. Overall, I did kind of enjoy the books that I read. Nothing other than kind of Dungeon Crawler Carl really blew me away, but overall kind of enjoyed it. I do think I did finally kind of cure the slump that I was in the month of August. I think I definitely would have read a lot more books in the month of September if it wasn't for the fact that I was on vacation for a full week in the month of September. And it wasn't kind of a relaxing by the pool vacation. I went to Universal Studios in order to go visit the new park, Epic Universe. So I spent most of my days on my feet, in rides for lines, in rides to meet Toothless, which was an absolutely amazing time, or kind of trucking back and forth to the hotel on the hotel shuttle. And overall, unfortunately, kind of when I am in those big busy areas, I do have a lot of trouble kind of tuning out kind of my environment enough to even listen to a little bit of an audiobook or to do any reading while waiting in line for rides. And that's okay, because don't have to always spend all of your time reading. There is more to life than reading, despite the fact that we do love our books here. So in the month of September, I read 3,787 pages. Most of those pages were kind of spent by listening to the books via audio. That is kind of the easiest way that I find I am able to kind of consume books at this time, because if I had to rely on these eyeballs, my poor brain would not let me focus for long enough to actually read a full book. Definitely excited to feel as though I have at least cured or gotten past my initial slump. Definitely wanting to read kind of more books. Hopefully I can bring kind of this average book back up to closer to 8 to 10 books a month. That's kind of a new number I'm wanting to kind of aim for, that I do feel a little bit more comfortable with. There has definitely been months where I've read 15 to 18 books, but a lot of those books have also included some very short novellas or graphic novels that I have binged over kind of readathon weekends. So overall, I think I'm happy, kind of especially with my current kind of full-time employment where I'm working full-time 4 days a week, that I will want to keep kind of reading about 8 to 10 books a month. Kind of finishing 2 books a week seems pretty decent. Definitely trying to move away, if possible, from being as much as a multi-book at a time reader. It would be nice to kind of be moving back to trying to finish at least finish each book that I start kind of within 7 calendar days of when I started, because I feel like I enjoy books a little bit more when I am kind of reading them in a much shorter time frame, where I'm not kind of reading them for a week and then taking 1 to 2 weeks off from even reading them and then getting back to them. In addition to the 6 books that I finished in the month of September, I am rolling over 4 books into the month of October. One of them is Dracula Daily. If you've been following along, I have been reading Dracula based on kind of the journal entry dates, and that's going to wrap up in November. So hopefully kind of by the next October update or going into November, I will be telling you that I won't be rolling over Dracula kind of much further than kind of the first few days into November. I am a little bit behind on my daily Dracula, so definitely need to catch up on that. I will also be rolling over The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. Overall, I'm really enjoying this book. I am at about the 50 to 60% mark. Definitely something I am enjoying. I love Rachel Gillig's kind of purpley prose. Absolutely loving our characters in this. I love Six. I love Rory. I love our little gargoyle friend here. Overall, I'm really enjoying this. Have I been reading this since mid-August and it's now October? Absolutely. But this is one of the books that I'm enjoying it so much that when I listen to it, I just feel this feeling of dread in my stomach. I know something's going to happen. I know it's going to be heartbreaking. And the second book doesn't come out until towards the end of next year, I believe. They really don't want to carry this any further than kind of the first week or so in October, because honestly, there's I think only 6 hours of audio listening at one time speed left. There's no reason for me to be still reading this book. I need to finish this and continue on. I will also be carrying over Firebrand, which is the 6th book in the Green Rider series. I have overall been enjoying my reread of the series. I find whenever I am wanting to listen to something and put it on in the background, it's a good book for me to put on, because I can zone out a little bit because I have read the book before and I have a really good understanding of the storyline, despite kind of most of the details having fallen out of my brain. But I do find I can listen to them, and as I'm listening to them, I'm remembering the scenes a little bit better. So it just takes a little bit less concentration, I find, to read Firebrand or any of the Green Rider books than kind of my other currently reading books that I'm reading for the first time. So definitely it's a book kind of that I'm kind of going on and off listening to throughout the month. Definitely want to see if I am able to finish Firebrand in the month of October, because it would be wonderful to be able to read Winterlight as well as the second novella in the month of November, and leaving some room to read and end the year with the new book that just released just a few days ago, Falling in the Sea of Stars. I think will be kind of a great way to round out my year of rereading the Green Rider series. And the final book that I'm carrying over in the month of September is Gods of Jade and Shadow by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. This book follows Cassiopeia, who has accidentally awoken a Mayan god of death, and they must travel together across Mexico and into parts of the southern United States in an attempt to find pieces of this Mayan god's body or important parts that are still missing. And kind of as they travel, the Mayan god is becoming more human, and she is becoming more drained, more likely closer kind of to death, because he is drawing on her source of energy. Overall, I am kind of enjoying this book. There is a lot that I find to be lacking in the story. There's just something I want a little bit more from the romance. I'm currently not fully invested in the romance, but definitely I want to know what happens in the story enough to continue on in it. And with only kind of about 2.5 hours left of the audiobook, I expect to finish this book kind of relatively early in the month of October. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you had a wonderful reading month in the month of September. Leave your favorite September read down below, and I can see if it's something I want to add to my TBR in the future. I hope you have a wonderful day, whether it's morning, noon, or night, and I hope your current read is a 5-star. Commentary that's happening in this book. There is a lot of